Bonsoir. So I'm standing between, you and the cocktail. Sorry about that. I'll try to make sure I'm quick and as simple as possible. So a brief introduction. My name is Pierre, and I'm working for Estée Lauder in Asia Pacific, in charge of digital marketing and e-commerce. And I've been basically living in Asia for 10 years, in Hong Kong and in Japan, mainly focusing on luxury and cosmetics. A brief introduction of Estée Lauder. I'm sure ladies here know Estée Lauder. If you don't know, you should know Estée Lauder. But basically, it's an American beauty brand, an American prestige beauty brand. Basically, our competitors are Chanel, Dior, and Lancôme. And maybe you don't know, but we are actually the #1 prestige beauty brand in the world in department stores, ahead of Shiseido, ahead of Lancôme. And we are #1 thanks to China. We have been #1 for the past 3-4 years, and definitely the investment that we have done in China, especially in developing capabilities in digital marketing and e-commerce, has been one of the reasons we moved forward. So today, I'm not going to share with you trends on technology. I'm not going to share with you trends on WeChat and Weibo. I think you had fantastic presentations so far. But I wanted to talk to you about occasion marketing. Because I think occasion marketing, it's the type of marketing that most of the brands, especially luxury brands, are moving into, and they are very important in China to connect, especially with millennial post-90s consumers who are always looking for experience and on occasions. So today I'm just going to define what is occasion-based marketing very quickly, and then I will go into some examples of relevant occasion-based marketing in China. But always bear in mind that what I'm going to talk about today is in the context of beauty and the context of cosmetics. And then I will take you through some examples that we actually have done in Asia, which I think are quite relevant, and what has been the role that digital has played over there. So when we think about occasion marketing, the first thing that we think about is festivals. And in general, festivals are very much linked with a specific product. So when you think about Christmas, when you think about Valentine's Day, when you think about Mother's Day, you think about fragrance, you think about cosmetics. So they are great moments, they are great timing for us to repush certain type of products. But what has been happening is that more and more brands give tools for you to find the right gift, for you to find the right products. But occasion is more than festivals. Occasions really are specific moments, specific timing for specific group of consumers, specific group of people to interact with certain type of products for usage or purchase. So another type of occasion is, for example, consumer-led occasions. In Japan, but also in Asia, graduation is very important because actually Asian students work very, very hard. I don't know if you know the name of the tiger mums that the mothers have in Asia, and they basically have to work very, very hard. So the graduation time, it's a very big moment for every student. The graduation time happening in March and April. And in Japan, when you graduate, you basically enter a company, and it's almost for lifetime. Even if this is changing, in most of the cases for lifetime. So we use that occasion for graduated students, women graduated students, to re-promote our lipstick. And we re-promote it with personalization using what we call free monogramming service. So basically, we encourage people to treat themselves or to give a gift by using that lipstick, and you can come to our counter and get it engraved for free. So when we talk about personalization and luxury, this is an example that we can take. Other occasions is real time and real news and adapting to that. You have an example actually on the right, the Let It Snow. Actually, one year and a half ago, there was a big storm a snowstorm in the US, and this is one of the emails that has been sent by our global e-commerce team, basically to re-promote the fact that there are plenty of benefits to shop online, and if the weather is bad and if you're stuck inside, basically you can still shop Estée Lauder products. Other type of occasions are associative. The image on the left is an example of re-promotion of our award-winning, basically, product the same night as the Oscar ceremonies. So it's a way, in a very light way, to actually re-promote our products. Another example is, for example, holidays. Actually, when you go on holiday, if you go to the seaside, or if you go to a city escape, or if you go to a winter destination, your skin needs is quite different. You may need to have a product to increase your moisturizing, etc., etc. So we are here to be able to provide you with the right product tips and the right product recommendation. What we are seeing also is that online definitely creates daily occasions. This is an example of my daily usage of mobile phones and tablets and digital screen. But I think most of you, at least the millennials, actually are using it that way. But when you look at that, actually you should think that we find opportunities to reconnect with our consumers. In the morning, in general, I check the weather forecast, and I think every woman is checking the weather forecast. And here, an opportunity is actually to do some recommendation regarding UV protection. In China and in Asia in general, women are looking for very fair skin. So whitening products are actually very, very important. So we can be present at that time to give what is the UV index and the type of protection for skincare that you should be using. We have seen also that around noontime for our own e-commerce site, there is a peak in traffic. There is a peak in traffic because for very, very active women who don't have much time before and after work, this is a time where they're looking for deals. This is a time where they're looking for promotions. So here it's a great timing actually to offer some specific flash sales between noon and 1 p.m. Another example is around 4 p.m. In general, at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., you're probably gonna, contact your friends, contact your friends to go out for a drink, etc., etc. But you may not have time to transform your makeup. You may need to have a transformation from a work outlook to a date look. So at that time, we can actually give you some kind of makeup techniques to transform very easily. So why occasion is important in general? In general, it's important because it has a high marketing response rate and it has a high social engagement rate. Here, this is an example of a makeup class for Valentine's Day that actually we did in Taiwan. And the reservation rate of this makeup class was about 11%, compared to an average of about 4 and 5%, which means that when you deliver the right products and the right tips at the right moment, you in general have a higher engagement rate. But occasion is a red ocean. In general, in this occasion, you're not the only one playing, and you're not competing only within your industry. You're actually competing across industry. When you think about Valentine's Day, for example, definitely the competition is among the jewel makers, the chocolate makers, the lingerie makers, the beauty makers. So it's very, very important that you actually bring value and that you bring differentiation to the consumers. So what's the relevant occasion marketing in China? The first one is, as a festival, is Chinese New Year. That sounds very common, but actually I think it's a must for a Western brand to play on Chinese New Year. It's a must to play on Chinese New Year because this is the celebration of the year. And for you, if you play there, it means that you care about China and that you care about Chinese consumers and that you care to be part of their culture. So it's a must. Also, Chinese New Year is not just a celebration, it's actually an important shopping period. Actually, at that time, the Chinese consumers buy new things. You buy new clothes, you buy new food, you buy new jewels, etc., etc. And this is a time where you meet with your friends, where you meet with your parents, with your relatives. So it's a time where there will be parties. So this is a time also where actually cosmetics and beauty brands can actually play around these occasions. It's also a time to travel, to visit families, but also to travel outside of China. And in general, when Chinese go outside of China, they spend 60% of their spending in shopping. So it's very important that actually you are already in the shopping list when they go overseas. Another interesting festival is the Chinese Valentine's Day. I don't know if you know that, but there is actually a Chinese Valentine's Day. We have the regular one on the 14th of February, but this one is happening the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, and this is also another occasion to connect with consumers. Another type of occasion are commercial event occasion. You all very familiar with the Alibaba 11.11. This actually online shopping was in response to Valentine's Day. And actually when it started in 2009 or 2010, it was only about 30 merchants participating in that 11.11 day. Now it's reaching shoppers even across 200 countries outside of China. What is very interesting is that the mobile transaction actually rose by plus 300% versus last year. So we are talking about the increase of mobile commerce. It affects obviously these moments. So actually Estée Lauder has opened we have opened our own Tmall store about 1 year ago, and we did participate in that 11.11. And echoing to what has been said before, actually to win in this type of festivals, they are not anymore simply a promotional time happening only on 11.11. Actually, the 11.11 campaign starts already the 15th of October. And from the 15th of October till the 30th of October, this is what we call a warm-up phase, where basically you start to tease your consumers, you start to engage with key opinion leaders and influencers so that they start to talk about your bestsellers, your products. And then from the 1st of November till the 10th of November, this is where you can drive some pre-sales. This is where you can start to talk about specific deals, specific offers. And then you have the big day on 11.11, where the days where the sales is completed and where you can actually reveal the biggest offer. Of course, we don't do any discount in our store, but we try to bring values by proposing exclusive products, exclusive sets, exclusive offers that are only available on that day. What is important here is that the festival doesn't stop at 11.11. All the people that you manage to recruit at that time are potential people to be loyal to your brand. Wedding. Wedding is a big, big occasion. And the wedding industry is huge in China. The wedding industry in China is about $60 billion. And the reason why it's big, because you have 20% of single Chinese, and you have the Chinese policy of the single child. And what has changed is that before, I think, wedding was more a social matter, a family matter, but now more and more they start to celebrate love. They start to celebrate love among couples, and they want to look gorgeous during their wedding. In average, they spend about $12,000 per wedding, so it's not small. So for brands like in beauty and cosmetics, there is potential to play in there. Women want to look their best on that wedding day. How can we help them to achieve that, not only on that day, but in preparation of that day that can last 1 week before, or 2 weeks before, or 1 month before? So this, you should consider that as occasion, consumer-led occasions with big trends in China. The second, and I think we're going to talk about that tomorrow, is tourism and the travel boom. 20,000 RMB is spent in average per person, and shopping is really, really high on the list. As I was saying previously, 60% of what is spent for Chinese consumers outside China when they visited countries, it's on shopping. So it's very, very important that you are already there when they start to build up their list of what they want to buy for themselves and for their friends. Another type of occasion, something that is becoming bigger and bigger, is what I call the me time, or the time where you really focus on yourself. The Chinese economy has been growing very fast for the past 10, 15 years, and now they want to enjoy the fruits of their work. And women who are very, very active, they want to have their own time. They want to have the time to relax, to rejuvenate, to renew. This is a quote of a woman. We have seen that many, many times about this me time. The moment I really enjoy is at night before I go to bed, when everything else has been taken care of. I'm left to do my skincare routine. It creates a sense of complement of my day. How can beauty brands be part of that moment? What kind of beauty rituals, beauty skincare routine can we give them so that they feel renewed and rejuvenated at that time? I think being part of that time is actually very important for beauty brands. And here's an example of a brand. It's called MG. MG is actually a mask maker in China. It has been bought over by L'Oreal. So they specialize in mask. Mask is actually the #1 beauty product category sold in China, especially on Taobao. The reason why I put it there is because, as you can see, they don't advertise anything about the product benefits. What they do here is they show the women enjoying that moment of rejuvenation. So this me time, this time to focusing on myself is an important occasion we should look into. Environment, pollution, this is an occasion. This is #1 health concern in China. I think the second one is water pollution. What you can see here, the landscape, or the mountain landscape, is actually a screen on Tiananmen Square. So to give a bit of green to the Chinese people, they actually put that there. The reason why I put this as an occasion, it's because we should, as beauty brands, for example, try to find ways to signal the issue of pollution, try to find ways to give solutions to protect against pollution. So how to win? I think we have discussed about a lot of things before, but these are the 3 key principles that I think we need to have to win in terms of occasion. We need to be relevant. We need to be relevant to the occasion, but we need to be relevant to the Chinese way of handling these occasions. We need to differentiate and bring value. I think it's important not to overdo it. There are a lot of occasions, there are a lot of festivals in China, and I think it's important to carefully choose the one we want to play in. And I think it's important to maintain a link with the Chinese culture. I think they care about that, while at the same time making sure that you respect your brand DNA and you respect your code. So I think the first thing to do is to map out your China festival calendar. I think this is a step that, we don't always do that from a global point of view or from a regional point of view. You need to map it out, and you need to map it out because there are a lot. So a few examples, the Women's Day. I don't know if the Women's Day or the International Women's Day is famous in France, but it's actually very big in China and in Greater China. So it's a day where we celebrate basically women, the gender equality, and this is obviously for cosmetics and fashion a great time to reconnect with brands. There is actually Nike who developed specific shoes for Women's Day, 5 types of shoes according to the style of flower of 5 different cities, and one of the cities was Shanghai. Lancôme, one of our competitors, is playing very, very big in general on this day. Teacher's Day. Teacher's Day is actually a big day also in China. The teacher's figure is very much appreciated in China. There's a maxim basically saying that teacher for a day, mentor for a life, or father for a life, or something like that. So there's a traditional gifting occasion at that moment. So I think it's very important that you look at all these different types of occasions. And these are the regular occasions. But on top of that, you have Weibo occasions. On top of that, you have Tmall occasions. So it means that when you look at occasion marketing on a Tmall and Taobao environment, it's almost every 2 weeks you need to come with a new program that is not related to a product launch. Here I would like to play with you a Chinese New Year video that we actually developed, not in China, but we developed for China to celebrate actually Chinese New Year. So we developed that video that has been used in our social media, has been used in store to animate the stores in different formats, 7 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, depending on the format that you are using. And as you can see, we try to combine 2 things, our brand DNA. You can see texture shots, etc., that symbolizes the cosmetics and the beauty. And at the same time, you can see the fireworks, the firecrackers, which is definitely a key element of Chinese New Year. And so, as I was mentioning, it's very important to be part of the Chinese culture. And for any occasion, it's very important to have some sort of a storytelling. So, what we try to convey during this Chinese New Year is to wishing beautiful blessings for the year to come and recommending products and tips according to that. So, for example, you can have very fun type of social conversation around if you wish to find your Prince Charming in this next year, we have the right shades of lipstick for you. Or if you have if you want to have a strong career this year, a strong work this year, we recommend you a set of products that will help you to look radiant and not tired every single day. So it's a time where you can be a little bit more fun, a little bit more casual, but to link with consumers. We also develop different type of visual shots, as you can see over there, that we play on Weibo, that we play on WeChat, basically to celebrate Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year is not only targeting Chinese in China, it's basically targeting the Chinese community outside of China. And I'm not talking only about Hong Kong and Taiwan. I'm talking also about Australia. In actually Melbourne, in Sydney, there's a big community of Chinese consumers. We actually announce on our Weibo in China for the Australian people when there is a specific launch happening in Australia, specific for Chinese. I'm thinking about Malaysia, Singapore, where also the Chinese community is quite important. It's a tool to reach out across the region. Valentine's Day, also another example of festival where the storytelling is important. What we realize in Valentine's Day is that everybody is competing around the idea of love. What we wanted to do, because the motto of Estée Lauder is every woman can be beautiful. So really our mission is really to empower women to look their most beautiful. So we develop a storytelling, especially for Asia, around be beautiful, be your own Valentine. So you don't need to be beautiful for somebody else, you can be beautiful for yourself. So we gave different type of tips, different types of products that people could browse to look their best. And what we did on e-commerce is that we provided this monogramming service, this engraving service, only on e-commerce. So each time you were purchasing a lipstick, you could have that specific service. So this was free, and this really helped us to lift up the sales of lipstick. Chinese Valentine's Day, we are talking about that. Actually, last year, about 1 year ago, we launched globally a new fragrance called Modern Muse. I'm sure you've seen it in France. But when we pre-launched it in China, we pre-launched it at the moment of Chinese Valentine's Day. So that was a great moment to link that occasion with a product that is relevant to that moment. And we launched it with a social activation around who is your modern muse. And people were encouraging to participate on Weibo, on WeChat, on our website, and they were driven to our counters to get actually the product, a sample of the products, but also to get a full makeover, because we know actually that the sales of fragrance is quite tough actually in China. China is not a fragrance market. China is essentially a skincare market and makeup market. So when they were coming to the counter, they were having a full makeover with the corresponding makeup. I've talked a bit about our 11/11. So the example has been the work with some beauty editors, so 5 beauty editors who picked the product that they love the most to really start teasing about the right products for people really to be aware of what is going to be available. It's very difficult to work on Taobao and to work on Tmall. The most difficult part for a luxury brand and a global luxury brand is actually to maintain that brand equity. And at the same time, when we go to Tmall, when we go on Taobao, it's also to drive sales, is to maximizing that traffic. How do we manage actually to do both? It's preparation. I think John was saying that we should start working on 11/11 about 5 or 6 months ago. This is true, and this is not only 11/11. There is 12/12 that is coming, that is becoming bigger and bigger. There is a spring festival happening in March, which is becoming bigger and bigger, and also mid-year anniversary around June. So all these events are becoming bigger, and they are becoming more complex, not only about promotion, but also about storytelling. Another example, and this is the only slide that I have about Korea, because I thought that I needed a slide about Korea. Mrs. Lauder, she had a motto that beauty only needs 3 minutes. So basically, you need only 3 minutes if you have the right products and the right techniques to actually make over. So when we look at this 3-minute beauty, actually our global team developed specific techniques about 3-minute beauty. They developed 7 techniques. But what we did in the region, we tried to map out these techniques with specific moment. So I'll give you an example. There's a technique called instant glow. So when you use specific makeup products, you can instantly, after 3 minutes, get a real radiance and really fresh glow. And we map that technique with the moment of work-to-date transformation. So instead of just telling you we have this technique, we put it into a context because this is what drives more interaction and more engagement. We have another technique that we call fatigue fighter. It helps you to, delete a little bit your dark circles over there. The moment that we target for that is lack of sleep, especially for women who work a lot. So we really create all these moments, all these stories to sell these techniques and to bring people to the counter. So how we did, basically we announce these moments online. We partner with some vloggers in Korea to show how to do these techniques, but also we announce them in our website. We encourage these women actually to come to the counter and experience these techniques. And at the counter, they could actually save the techniques on their mobile phone. After the makeover by the beauty advisor, we were encouraging people to take a selfie of themselves to show the transformation and to hashtag it on 3-minute beauty to enter a lucky draw. And for 3 months, the third of every month, we would select 3 people to get a specific product. This actually helps really to increase the new to file, the new consumers in an occasion marketing context. We didn't push hard the products by themselves, but we put them into a context. The last example of occasion is we were talking about this me time, me, myself, I that the millennials are always talking about. Here, the idea we develop a series of stories about my night, my day. To re-promote our main product, which is Advanced Night Repair, to show that this is the product that you need all the time. So we create a series, a wedding, going for a date, etc., where we develop that story. So looking at all of this, you could see that there were a lot of examples regarding digital. Why digital actually plays a big role in China and a big role in occasion marketing in China. First of all, marketing is digital marketing in China. There's no doubt about that. This is a chart developed by Bain & Company regarding digital marketing and e-commerce in China. It's quite recent, actually. It's been released end of last year. And they basically split it into 3 parts. The first part is the awareness. So 50% of Chinese consumers consult online sources before making a purchase decision. This is huge. And for precious beauty brands, we made a study. In general, precious beauty consumers have, in average, 10 touch points with the brand before making a purchase. And 6 to 7 of the touch points are happening online. They're happening on search, they're happening on forums, they're happening in our website, etc., etc. So basically, if you're not there, it doesn't matter if you have advertising in your national ad. It doesn't matter that much if you have TV commercial. What matters is that, are you visible actually on WeChat? Are you visible on Weibo? Are you visible on Tmall? The second piece is the decide and transact. I'm not going to go much into this one, but the one that is interesting is the review and advocates. I think we talked a bit about that earlier, but 86% of interviewed people did review after making a purchase last year. And this is very important. In China, they basically trust what their peers are saying, what their friends are saying. They don't trust the scoring. They don't trust the stars. They really want to look at unwritten feedback. We're seeing new O2O capabilities. So O2O is offline to online and online to offline capabilities. Here is an example of Alipay Wallet, which is a mobile payment, and the partnership that they did for 12/12, so this occasion happening on the 12th of December with 20,000 brick-and-mortar stores partners. So basically, if you are paying with Alipay in these brick-and-mortar stores, you could get specific discount and specific deals. So again, they realize the potential of occasion marketing to drive business. Earlier on, we were talking about the shake function of WeChat. In occasion marketing, you have a specific program that is called Chunwan. in Chinese New Year. This is basically the show that is happening on TV. I think it's the New Year Eve or the first day of the year. And 3 times during the show, at the beginning, in the middle, and after, they encourage you to shake your WeChat, basically to get some red pocket and to get some money. So again, this is an example of O2O capabilities that are linked to occasion marketing. And I'm not going to go into that, but basically mobile for us really help us to reach out in tier 3 and 4 cities. Also, the reason why we actually opened Tmall was to be able to reach out consumers that are not in cities where we have a counter, and that are proved actually quite successful. And obviously to reach out younger consumers. The younger consumers are online. The younger consumers are on mobile. So, in conclusion, and this is very pragmatic, because when we're talking about China, there's a lot of things going on, and we need to be very pragmatic in what we do. You really need to plan your calendar. And plan your calendar doesn't mean that now for the next 3-4 months. You need to plan it 1 year ahead, because it means you will need to have a specific communication for that. You will need to have specific products for that. You will need to have specific promotion programs for it. Festival, this is not only during the festival. Actually, planning for occasions mean before, teasing your consumers about what is going to happen. During, of course, in Tmall, for example, you should make sure that actually your site is working on that day. Otherwise, it's going to be a big loss. And the third one is definitely after. Once the consumers, especially in China, have purchased the product, you should enhance the consumption of that product by giving new tips and new ways to use the products. Be relevant, don't overdo it. Try to be aligned with your brand DNA and when the Chinese consumers. And finally, provide experience. Provide this O2O experience, because this is really what is the seed of loyalty. This is what will make the people actually coming back to your brands. So that's my last slide that concludes the occasion marketing piece in China.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was very interesting and a lot of information very fast there. There's certainly a lot of complexity to occasion marketing. So I wonder if you've seen examples of other brands that have maybe focused too much on the occasion part of it and maybe diluted their message or kind of lost track of their own message in terms of consistency, and how you avoid that.
Yeah, for many times, occasion marketing has been considered just as an opportunity for promotion. Actually, now it's becoming more complex, where you really need to craft a concept around it and making sure that the concept is in line with your brand DNA. So actually what we try to avoid doing that is by planning ahead and making sure that we have a strong concept that links the occasion together with the brand.
Okay. Can you share anything about the ROI, like the Let It Snow ad you shared in the beginning? A direct promotion like that compared to sort of a standard email that goes out that's not about an occasion. Is there a difference in like the open rates and click-through rates and purchase?
Alors for this specific case, I don't know, but usually there is. For example, when we compare occasion marketing like Valentine's Day, we in general have a lift of plus 100% or plus 200% in actually our e-commerce sales in markets like Japan and China. So there's always a lift, not only in sales, but also in marketing response, especially on social media.
Yeah, okay. And those statistics that you shared about digital marketing, particularly with peer reviews, they're very high in China. Can you say anything about how China compares to other markets in terms of the influence of peers and peer reviews and the number of consumers who review after purchase?
Sure. I think in China there's a concern about counterfeiting. So the reviews of public people is actually quite important. I think it's important for other countries. It's important in France. It's important also in Asia. But they're very specific in their experience. So I was mentioning that it's not simply a star ranking or ranking like that. It's really a handwritten feedback that makes a difference.
Do we have questions from the audience? Or is everybody ready to go get cocktails? It is after 7. We have one up here, yeah? Okay.
I have a question. I'm a reporter from Beijing Review magazine. So according to my knowledge, your brand is very, very successful in China, especially among the young people. So can you tell us what is the secrets of your success among the Chinese young people? What are the special consumption habits of China's young consumers? Thank you.
That's good to know. Um, I wish we would be even better with young people. The first thing is we don't cheat. We have very good products. They're tested thoroughly. So actually, when people buy our products, they're in general quite satisfied. So if you're satisfied, you will post about your experience, etc., etc. But what is important is that we have been conducting different type of post-90s millennial studies that help us actually to understand what the consumers want. And in general, what we can see, what they want is they don't want the product to be pushed hard to them. They want some tips, they want some tools so that they can create their own experience. So when you see the example of the 3-minute beauty, all these makeup techniques that helps you to experiment without being too hard sell, this type of engagement is quite appreciated. And of course, you have to be present where the consumers are. Our digital ecosystem is quite complex. Of course, we have Weibo for brand news, but we also have WeChat that has been built as more as a CRM platform rather than a paid platforms. And we are present in a lot of social media channels. We have a channel that we call ELAD. ELAD.com.cn, which is more a platform where our key opinion leaders and people are invited to try our products and let their reviews. So this has been a good platform to trigger this type of feedback that we were mentioning before.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. There's one more up here.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I'm Anaïs Seller from Hermes. Later you said that the video that has been made for the Chinese New Year has been made for you. How does it work, the production of content? It's all made in Asia directly, or how are you organized to produce content?
So actually, Estée Lauder understood very quickly, many years ago, that to win in China, we had to be locally relevant. So actually, in my team, in the regional office, we have actually 5 people to drive digital marketing, social marketing, etc. And we work with a regional agency based in Hong Kong to create contents for Asia. But in general, when they develop for Asia, they develop in the mind of China. Because if China doesn't take these contents, it's not worth producing it. So you have actually agencies producing contents for us in Hong Kong. We give some flexibility, but we work very closely with the markets, not only China, but also other markets like Japan and Korea, to develop contents on their own, working with KOLs, working with influencers, etc., etc. Then some campaigns like the video that you've seen have been produced by Global. The reason is that when you develop a Chinese New Year campaign, this is not only for China. It actually has an impact bigger than Asia, as I was mentioning. So there are some elements where it's worth being developed globally. So there's a set. The structure is quite. It's not lean. There's a few people working on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Pierre, thank you very much. Let's end there.